like to invite Dr. Sushree Sasmita Pati ji. She's an assistant professor at the School of Sanskrit at Gangadhar Meher University in Sambalpur, Odisha. She has a PhD in Dharmashastra and Sanskrit literature from the Department of Sanskrit, Pondicherry University. Her areas of research include ancient Indian legal system, socio-political concepts in Sanskrit literature. She is the author/co-author of numerous articles as well as books. She has been developing digital contents for MA Sanskrit as content writer at the Odisha State Open University. Currently, she is, as I mentioned, working as assistant professor at School of Sanskrit at Gangadhar Meher University in Odisha. Welcome, Dr. Pati. And she will be giving us today an overview, as she sees it, of Dharmasūtra-s. Over to you, Sushree.
Thank you so much, sir. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Respected all my gurus who are present here in this particular meeting. All my gurus who been blessing me throughout my career, my students, my friends, Meghji who has invited me, and INDICA Academy who has given me a chance to this particular topic. I'm really thankful, and I would like to discuss about the Dharmasūtra-s. I'll give you a very brief idea what exactly the Dharmasūtra-s actually work and how do they work, and what is exactly what is their relevance actually. Do we need to read it today? If we need, and how it can be useful and everything. Shall I share my screen? Meghji, can I? Is it visible?
Yes, it is visible. Could you put it on full screen mode if that's possible?
1 second. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
I'm trying to minimize this. Yes. Now can see.
Yes, it is
Okay.
visible.
Yeah. So, as our previous speaker, Vishwas ji, has already spoken about the Kalpa in very much detail, I'm not going to go much of it, as we all know that Kalpa is one of the part of Vedāṅga-s, and it is basically, they talk about this particular part of Vedāṅga, they speak about the knowledge of performing the sacrifices, which will definitely not be possible because sacrifices are the most important part of Vedic rituals, Yagyas, which we say in Sanskrit. That is a very important aspect of Veda for removal of sins and gaining the punyas and everything. It is most important, and it is like Vishwas ji has already said, every day you have to perform the yagyas and everything. Now in Kalpa, they have the Kalpa Sutras are divided into 4 categories. Now Shrota Sutras, Griya Sutras, Dharma Sutras, and Sulya Sutras. Shrota Sutras, basically, they are very meticulous and have a very clear description about the Yagya Vidhanas. And they are basically based on the Brahmana text. So the Shrota Sutras are very connected to the Vedas. Now, Griha Sutras, they speak about the domestic rituals like everyday Nitya Karma and Pancha Maha Yagya especially. As per the Vidwanas, sometimes it overlaps the Dharma Sutras because the Griha Sutra and Dharma Sutras, they are very much connected with each other. But since the Dharma Sutra is the later part of Griha Sutras, that is why it is coming first. and they only focus on the domestical rituals thing. But Dharma Sutra has a very specific attitude when it comes to instruction. They talk about duties, responsibilities, the norms of social behavior, and how to have a good conduct and all these things. That is why Dharma Sutra is having a very distinctive nature from the Griha Sutras. The next one is Sulya Sutra. This is basically another speaker who is going to speak at the end of this particular lecture series. This particular Sulya Sutras, they talk about the geometrical calculation about Yagya Vedis, Yagya Kundas, what should be the size and what is the impact of those size, which diga it should be. So those technical aspect of Yagyas are discussed in Sulya Sutras. This is a generic idea. Now let's focus on the Dharma Sutra. Now, the word dharma, particularly, I am very proudly about to say that it is beyond the level of translation, which has been accepted by many scholars. That dharma is one particular word which has a very large amount of meaning, which includes duties, which includes responsibilities. It also talks about ashrama and karma, many things into this. So the sutras which speaks about dharma, the various kinds of dharma in related to the society as well as the human being, is basically discussed in the category of Dharmasūtra-s. Now this Dharmasūtra-s has affiliations to with the Sutra Charanas. Now this Sutra Charana is a very an interesting thing to know, that they are directly linked to the Vedas, introducing ideas through the various sutra works. So now Dharma Sutra, just as I mentioned before, it is also connected or it overlaps sometimes with the Griha Sutras. They are affiliated to this Sutra Charanas, which makes them associated to the Vedas. Now, in Dharma Sutra, Dharma is being represented as the moral, religious behavior, social norms, duties of humans, punishment, or the Prayashchitta or the penance, which is not limited. Because now in our general sense, when we say dharma, either it is related to the religion or it is related to the some criminal or civil law, that kind of a thing. But in Dharma Sutra, this is more than that. Now, the Griha Sutra, which has basically affected to the, influenced to the Dharma Sutras, which are currently available, like Gautama Dharma Sutras, Vasishtha Dharma Sutras, Bodhayana Dharma Sutras, Vishnu Dharma Sutra, and etc. They are majorly influenced by such Griha Sutras like Bodhayana, Apastamba, Hiranyakeshi, Vaikhanashan, and etc. Dharma Sutras, in general, by text, are very normative. That tells you what to do. Now, in comparison to other text, if you see the Griha Sutras and all, it is like, do this for the attaining of moksha, do this for the praise of Indra. But Dharma Sutra specifically do not tell you that do this so that you will get moksha, or perform this particular yagya so that you will remove all your papas and you will be a superhuman being. No, it tells you that how as a human being you should behave, how as a human being you could live with another human being or maintain the social life. You could be attached to God while maintaining the social life, how you have to sustain your life, how you have to earn, but with the process of dharma. All these things are very much discussed in the Dharma Sutras. Now, I have given a very slight difference about what is Dharma Sutra and what is Dharmashastra. Now, when I say Dharmashastra, it means Smriti in general. So, Smritis, because current society, we mostly follow or mostly recognize Manusmriti, highly controversial one, Yagyavalkya Smriti, highly popular one in terms of law and administration, then Narada Smriti and many other Smritis. So why sutras are different, what was the requirement that sutra were created, and what was the requirement that smriti were created, or whether these two are correlated, do they have any relation, and what are the differences we do find. So Dharmasūtra-s are basically a sutra. It is written in sutra format, one line sentence, and it is sometimes mixed with prose. But when it comes to Smriti or Dharmashastra, it is basically in the verse format or in metrical form. Now, the origin of Dharmasūtra-s, if you read the Dharmasūtra-s, you would know that, okay, Bodhayana Rishi might have written this Dharmasutra, that is why it is written by them. And they don't attribute this particular Dharmasutra to some supernatural human being. Wherein in Smriti, they directly, affiliated, or they ascribe to Brahman that this particular God or this Brahman has created the entire world, and all this thing has been the divine origin, basically they talk about. Now the language is very old in terms of Dharma Sutra. It's a quite old pattern, but Dharmashastra or Smriti, that is liturgical, and it is in the Laukika Samskrita which we are nowadays using. Topics, when we find Dharma Sutra, you will not see a proper arrangement of topics. Some Dharma Sutra, they will only speak about Prayashchitta. Now, some Dharma Sutra, they will only speak about samskaras, various type of purification rituals which we have. And some Dharma Sutras, they will only speak about a Raja Dharma. But in case of Smriti, they are basically having a three components of the three topics of structure where they focus on Achara, Vyavahara, and Prayashchitta. They talk about behavior or conduct. They talk about disputes or Rajadharma, law, administration. They talk about penance, how to remove or punishment in the form of Prayashchitta. All these things are covered systematically in Smriti. Now, historical preferences, if we see, Dharma Sutras are, as I mentioned before, having very much resemblance with the Griha Sutras. Smritis, they take a partial influence from the sutras, but they are not directly related to it. Or even if they're influenced by, they don't say that we are influenced by. Wherein Dharma Sutra speaks that, okay, Griha Sutras, we are influenced by the Griha Sutras and everything. Affiliation to Dharma Sutras, they are very specific. Each Dharma Sutras are specific to each Vedas. Not every Dharma Sutras is, related to all Vedas. Wherein Smriti, they don't have a proper affiliation to one particular Veda. They are in generic mode. So wherever you read or study the Smriti based lines or their verses, in general, they refers to the Veda only. Now, I'll go to the authorship and the date of the Dharma Sutra, as I would like to mention here clearly that we have lots of confusion in terms of dating these Dharma Sutras. Now, the scholars like Kangle, P.V. Kane, and everyone has specifically said that all these Dharma Sutras probably between the Gautama, Bodhayana, Apastamba, 600 to 300 BC, Harita, Hiranyakeshan, and all this may be from 600 to 100 AD. So the Dharma Sutras, every single Dharma Sutra has a very different era. This is an discussion and ideas given by the various scholars, which have many more controversies. Some scholars, they claim that Gautama Dharma Sutra might not be the oldest Dharma Sutra, rather Manusmriti would be the oldest one. So all these dating issues are always there, which all the Vedic scholars and Dharma Sutrakaras, Dharma Shastrakaras has already realized it. So I'm not focusing on that particular in general, but these are the ideas which I have collected from various scholars, text. Now, let's talk about the topics of Dharma Sutra. Now, as I mentioned, it is not very systematic. Doesn't mean that they don't discuss about many things. They do. Now, they speak about dharma with much of an emphasis. And the dharma, when they specify, they speak about, the first thing they speak about is Varna Dharma and Ashrama Dharma. Now, Varna and Ashrama, these two have already created lots of chaos in the context of Smriti text. Now, when we see this particular Varna Dharma, now the Dharmasūtra-s, they have distinctively mentioned very clearly, they have discussed that how the duties of every single people belong to each Varna will have their respective duties and their responsibilities. Now, there are 4 types of Varnas, as we know: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Now, we have seen that there are so many controversy related to Varna when it is being understood as a term of caste or jati. I would like to mention here, the Varna Dharma does not equal to the, it's not at all equal to the caste system. When it's the caste system do not specifically say that each Varna has to follow their own duties and responsibility, wherein by following this Varna Dharma, Bhagavad Gita in chapter 4, they speaks about Chaturvarnam Maya Srushtam Guna Karma Vibhagasaha. So the human which is possessing the qualities of the particular, inherent, their own qualities based on their own karma, they will have their own duties and responsibility adhering to the specific Varnas. Now, this is why the Varna system was created, so that the society would be in a very much balanced mode. Everyone has to do their jobs. Encouragement for the personal qualities. This is one specific thing which we would like. Just because my father would be a priest doesn't mean the son has to be the priest. If the son has an inclination towards the business, that particular son would be considered as a part of Vaishya Varna. As the Varna system emphasized on the personal qualities and their performance of duties, the child of a priest need not to be belonging to the priest category as similar to their father or as to the Brahmana. Their personal duties and their karma makes them distinct from their own family members as well. Varna system does not specifically say that it is from the birth itself you are adhering to your Varnas. No, it doesn't. As I mentioned before, I have given an example. It depends on the person. It realized that now this particular Varna system, the 4 Varna system, I would like to have a slight classification that a Brahmana Varna has been specified or been designated or been asked to, incline towards the Vedas, read Vedas, explain the Shastras, teach Shastras to the people who are interested of reading it, learning, including kings and ministers and everyone. Now, Kshatriyas, basically, their responsibility is to protect the Sima Rekha or the boundaries of the particular kingdom, protect the inside the kingdom, the people of surrounding to them, and most likely the kings which are seated or they are being crowned upon, they belong to this particular Varna. Now, Vaishyas, they basically do the work of selling and purchasing the goods. They are most like the business, who do the business things and everything. Those kind of work comes to the category of Vaishya. Shilpakaras, Karigara, and everyone also comes under the category of Vaishyas. Now, Shudras, when we speak about, they are the kind of a people who doesn't have an inclination toward reading and writing. Rather, they have inclination toward doing the karma to all the rest varnas, or performing some seva, or they have um, interest towards working thing as instructed to them. So these kind of a four varnas they have been asked, which is quietly different from the current caste system which we are having. And these four varnas, they actually instruct us to look into the life stages of a human life, and which takes us towards the ashrama system, where we have four types of ashrama: brahmacharya, grahastha, vanaprastha, and sannyasa. Now these four stages happens to have to all the varnas, to all the people who lives in the society. Now brahmacharya ashrama, they specify to the period where the child goes to the gurukula or to the schools and study, and the learning fridge, where they don't get married, but rather they spend their years to read Vedas and Shastra. Now post completion of the study, when they come back to their home, they enter to the next stage of life called grihastha. Now in this particular ashrama, they get married. They use their knowledge to survive in the society. They give out their knowledge to other people, irrespective whichever varnas they are. They utilize their knowledge to sustain their life. They sustain other people of the society, and they procreate and they live in the society by having a family. Then the next stage of life takes us to the part of where we called in nowadays called retirement. Now this particular part called vanaprastha, normally in the ancient time, people who would already have a fortune, set up their family, already live up their life completely, they would have an inclination to spend their rest few years of life thinking about God and knowing themselves what should be done by a Atma, what is God, who is me, who am I, and what is my duties, what is why am I here in this world. All this kind of a thing would be in this particular third stage of ashrama called vanaprastha. They would be living in the vana, and they will be either with their family, either with the husband or respective wife, or they will be alone, by leaving all their responsibility on their children to maintain their family behind, and they will have a life of sannyasi. Now this particular last stage of the third stage leads to the final stage of the life called sannyasasrama, where a person leaves off everything. They do not carry a single particular item with their own. They visit places, they go to the tirthasthala, they do viksha to sustain their life, and they do not keep things with themselves for the future. They live in the present, and they do not stay in a particular place for more than one day. So these four stages actually gives us another enlightenment that how beautiful the system was to make a person starting from learning process, live up their life, then look for their own self, and look out for in the search of the God, and finally earn and gain the knowledge from various places, and finally spare their life in the name of God. So these four particular stages are known as the ashrama, and this ashrama dharma is also very important as per the Dharmasūtra-s. Now in this both ashrama and varna system, what they exactly try to tell you, that you have to gain the knowledge not only to attain the higher self, attain the higher knowledge, rather to live off your your life also. You have to maintain your society, even if you would like to depart from this world very soon, but still your job is to you make your family members live in this world. And how you would do this, that is very important. And the way you would do this, that is also very important. And for that, you need a way to earn. And knowledge is the only way. Whether you are Kshatriya, whether you are Vaishya, whether you are a Brahmana, whichever Varnas you have to learn how to live in the society in terms of conduct, in terms of managing the family, everything. Now, the real knowledge, when we speak about, when we start having the knowledge, this will automatically encourage you to develop, or develop the curiosity to achieve the real knowledge, which will eventually happen. It will not happen within one night. It might not happen to you instantly, since you are occupied with lots of responsibilities and you are performing your duties, which are making you entangled in the society. So eventually, with the process of ashrama, with the process of your karma, you will reach that. But with the patience, with the active participation, with the active curiosity regarding this particular knowledge. So that was the idea given by Dharmasūtra-s. What are the things, what else they were giving you? Achara. They were giving you the idea of good behavior. They were giving you idea of social rights, that as a human being, how you can live with other human being with the cooperation, with the solidarity, with the united together. The aspect which we are believing right now in United Nations, we are practicing, we are planning to implement every day in our country or in our society, that is already being taught in this Dharmasūtra-s in the terms of Achara. Along with that, they are making you perform the daily rituals called INDICA, which is category called INDICA, to maintain a disciplined life. Now, as our speaker Vishwas-ji told, that if you are not reading Apastambha Griha Sutra, then what is the point of living your life? That reading Apastambha Griha Sutra is one of the example of maintaining a disciplined life, understanding the knowledge given through this particular Griha Sutra. Similarly, Dharmasūtra-s also recommend you to maintain a disciplined life by performing all the Nitya karmas like Sandhya Vandanas, like purification process in the morning or the evening, and the puja vidhanas, yagya vidhanas, everything they talk about. This daily rituals needs to be performed so that you will have a very disciplined life. And we live in an era where the Instagram and Facebook has taken over, and we are craving for this disciplined life, which has already been taught by the Dharmasūtra-s. That is very interesting thing to understand. Now, what are another things they are talking about? Pancha Yagyas. Now, this 5 Yagyas is basically performed by the Grihasthas in Grihasthashrama only after the marriage, as specified by the Dharmasūtra-s. Why it is so? This particular Pancha Yagyas will require husband and wife both to perform it. Now, what are these Pancha Yagyas? Deva Yagya, Pitra Yagya, Bhuta Yagya, Manushya Yagya, and all these Yagyas, what they exactly do to you? One of the Yagyas inspire you to practice the Vedic rituals. Vedic Vedas, every day read the Vedas, Shastras and everything. Then another Yagya, when they speak about Pitra Yagya, the Shraddha, the Tarpana. The Shraddha Tarpana, mostly we consider as a once in a year, like today is a Mahalaya. It's a very auspicious day today. We are having Pitru Purusha Shraddha Tarpana in this particular month of October. Now, this is not an once in a year kind of a thing. They are speaking about Pitra Yagya, where the Grihastha gives the Tarpana every day as the form of Anna, or by giving the food to the crow or to the cow. That is the kind of a Pindadana, they say. Every day you have to do Pitra Yagya. Then another you have is Bhuta Yagya. Now, this particular yagya, bhuta yagya, is actually intended to sustain the people of the society along with the animals as well. They are saying it's not only a human job is not only to live for themselves, they also have to make other animals and plants to live with along with each other. So to giving sugar to the ants, or food to the dog, or to the cows, or to the crow, all these things considered as a part of bhuta yagya. Another interesting yagya which we might be doing unknowingly every day is called atithi yagya or manusha yagya. Now this particular atithi yagya is basically talking about the guest who comes to you needs to be fed with the with shraddha, needs to be treated with proper care. Why so? What is the requirement of it? Now, when we have a guest, now Atithi Devo Bhava, that is the tagline we already have in our Government of India's many program. Now, this particular Atithi word is very crucial for a grihastha to sustain a Atithi who is roaming around, a Vikshuka who is roaming around, a Sannyasi who is roaming around in the search of God, in the search of proper knowledge, attaining or trying to understand their own self and how they would live up their life, how they would sustain, because they don't have a method of livelihood. They don't know how to. They cannot earn by themselves. So somebody has to feed them. No, this is the kind of a particular yajna where grihastha has to feed the atithi who are coming to the house of the grihastha untimely, anytime, not telling them in advance. Na tithi atithi. That is the kind of idea when they say about a manusha yajna. So basically this Pancha Maha Yagyas, they train the grihastha to earn money, utilize it for themselves, give it to the people who are not present in this world, who are already considered as your ancestor, who are animals, who can visit you at any moment, and who are working with you, who are living with you. Treat them with utmost care, feed them with utmost shraddha. All these things give you a very good idea through this particular Pancha Mahayagyas, and Dharmashastra has given a tremendous job as describing such yagyas. Now another one is dana. This particular word has a very deep meaning inside it. Now we say dana means various types of dana, dhana dana, rakta dana, mahata dana, punya dana, or any kind of dana, or vidya dana. The first kind of a dana, we all present here would agree that all the teachers who are here, all the students who are receiving this particular dana, it is not visible. It is not at all written somewhere, or it cannot be countable, but still it is given to the students. Then dhana dana, it may be measurable, but it is not forever. When you give the dana, you give the dana with the aspect of not having anything in return, or giving the donation permanently to the needy people. Now when we say we are giving kanya dana, that is another kind of a punya that every father dreams of, from the birth of their daughter. The kanya dana to the donating their daughter to another family, so that their family can live with a proper lead a proper life. Their family could be set up. Daughters are very important, and donating a kanya is considered as one of the punyas got by the father. Now the donation, when we speak about, is a kind of a thing which we need to understand that it cannot be given to someone expecting that chalo I will give something in return, not at all. Similarly, any kind of dana, you need not, while donating someone, you do not think, or you need not be thinking whether my donation is being utilized or it is being not in wrong hand. So while you donate with the thing of Shraddha, with the idea of Shraddha. That is the most important thing they taught in Dharmasutra. They speak about economic system of those period, how the people were living, income sources. I've already told you. Now Varnas, they have ascribed or they have been designated to their particular works. If someone is doing their the teaching job, that means they belong to the Brahmana Varna, and based on their jobs, they will be getting the money. Brahmanas in Arthashastra or in Dharmasūtra-s or in Smriti even, they say that Brahmanas needs to be appointed in every council, in the king's sabha or in Raja Sabha, so that they can advise to the king by giving the instances from the Shastras or Puranas and everything. So those kind of income sources were present at that time. Loans and interest. Now, this particular aspect were very much discussed in many Dharma Sutras. What kind of runa can be taken by keeping any kind of a object, and for what the loans has to be taken, how much the loan has to be taken, how the interest would be paid. So the Chakravriddhi and all these things have been discussed in Dharma Sutra. You see, Dharma Sutra is one of those texts where they talk about entire, social and economic aspect of human life. If you are living in society, if you are living in world, then all these things, this transaction, the money transaction is very common. So the loans may be required. And what should be the method to pay off the loan? How to have a long-term interest, runa adana, runa pradana, vriddhi, all these things has been discussed clearly in Dharma Sutras. Tax, nowadays we are having GST and various methods of tax. Those days they were having only one type of format called tax, which is imposed by the king. Ekasashtamsa kara, I think this has been discussed in many literary texts as well. And it is discussed in Dharma Sutra with such a gravity that king can impose the tax, but it should be based on the annual income of the particular person who are earning. You cannot impose ekasashtamsa of the tax from a person who are earning only 100 rupees per month or 90 rupees per month. So the measurement has to be decided, or the tax formulation has to be decided based on the annual income of every person who are earning. Now, what is the need of this tax? What is the need of this particular interest taken by the king? That they have to maintain the society also. They have to prepare the roads, they have to build up the temples, they have to create ponds for the people living in the society, and not only for the taxpayer, but also for the people who are not paying tax. So it is like you are contributing something towards the betterment of the society, just as we are doing today. We are paying education tax in our income tax, because our children could study, have a very good education, smart classroom in our universities and educational institutes. Now we are paying income tax to have a good road, or to the connection, electrical connection to the villages, everything. So those kind of economical system which we are having in today's life, those were also prescribed in those time in Dharma Sutras as well. Next come the law and punishment system. We need to understand that administration was very strong and was solely communicated and gathered by the king and their council. Now the council will have 10 members, 4 members which will will know Veda, Grihastha, Bhikshuka, three people who are well versed in dharma and Puranas and Shastras. All these things actually needs to be prepared there. Mahamantris, mantris, they will have officials who will be working in separate departments like mines, forest, customs, or foreign services. All these things will need to be specified. And they also speaks about Durga, the fort, how to protect the kingdom, how to protect the king, and the important council of the people, where to discuss the important decision which needs to be implemented in the kingdom, how to protect your own people. They talk about Saptangas, they talk about warfare, that which kind of method can be taken to challenge the shatrus or the enemies who are sitting in front or standing in front. Whether the war is required, can it be done with other sama, dama, danda, bheda? This kind of 4 kinds of law and administration could be taken by the king to make sure the people of his kingdom are safe and secure, living their life with any kind of fear. Along with this, another 2 important things are required. One is espionage, which is called, chara. See, when you plan to protect your kingdom, the need of this espionage is very important. This charas will not only get the information of the outside enemies, they will also look, or they will have eyes over the ministers or the people who are living inside. That is also very important. A king who is controlling enemies outside will not have a control over his own people, will definitely have a face of failure. They will have a Rajadroha. The kingdom will be destroyed. That is the kind of a thing a king has to have a vision for. So protection as well as keeping an eye on them is very much required. Then punishment. Now this punishment system, as per the Dharmasūtra-s, that it need not be specific, as the severity of your crime is different, the punishment will be different. If you're murdering someone, the punishment will be different from the stealing things, or hurting someone by the words. So every crime will have a separate kind of a punishment. The another system which the king will always entangle into the dvandas or the vyavaharas, where they talk about if there is any land dispute, if there is any inherent dispute, the sampati vibhajana, which is one of the most innovative thing to understand, that family members will have this much of inheritance according to their position, and the daughters will also have their inheritance from their mother's side. All these kind of rules and regulation has already been prescribed by Dharmasūtra-s. Their boys will be getting the inheritance from the father's side. There goes the question, what is the daughter getting? The daughter will get the mother's side of inheritance, the Strī Dhana, which is being donated to the mother by their in-laws or by their parents. Over the period of time, mother will pass on all these dhanas to their own daughters or their daughter's daughter or their son's daughter. So only female members of the family will inherit the mother side of a property, and the male candidate will get the father side of property. All these things are part of this law and administration. They speak about it. It is a part of Vyavahara. They also speak about another interesting thing called Sima Vivada. Now, Sima Vivada means you are not present there, your property is being disposed, your border is being hijacked by someone, if it is country or the house or the the land, anything, this all goes to the king for the resolvement of this kind of a disputes. So king has to sit there with the council, look into the pramanas or to the shakshis who will come and give you the prospect that what exactly happened. They'll have to give the proof that this is the particular dispute and this was the plan which was discussed initially but is being violated. What should be the resolution, whether someone is lying, whether what is exactly the real fact. All these things has to be decided by the king, and it is all comes under the part of law and administration as well as the punishment system. Now the final version, when every Dharma Sutra which you read, most of the Dharma Sutras, they talk about Prayashchitta or atonement. Now they have specifically given a detailed description how many types of Prayashchitta could be for a person to remove their sins by self-realization or by the condition of a punishment. Like one of the first thing is anutapa, realization of sin and repentance of it. Now, self-realization of a particular crime is more important than punishing them with some monetary thing or fine or some physical harm. So all these things is more important. It's having a very less important in comparison to the anutapa. You cannot punish someone who is not having a realization that what they have done. Then pranayama, to control the consequences of your sin. Now general pranayama what we have in Patanjali Yoga Sutra is different from this one. It is in a works kind, it is similar. There you are having pranayama in terms of air, but here you are having pranayama in terms of your crimes or your papa. Tapas, to educate the consequence of the sin. So when you know that what is exactly your papa, what should be the actual punishment for it, you have to make them realize. You have to make them understand that this is what is going to happen. Homa, if you are having any impurities in your mind, even if the papa is not too big or too hurtful to someone, still like thinking that, okay, I will murder someone. If you are having some kind of anger, you will imagine yourself that, okay, I will murder this person so that all my struggles, all my things would be, my problems will be go off. But if you remember the Mahabharata, there goes that if you are thinking about murdering someone, that means you are already earning some sin. And those kind of impurities can be removed by Homa. Japa, that you have to, the effective mantras which you will go on chanting with the purity in heart, with the piousness in the heart. Dana, definitely it is very important. There are many types of dana, Mahadana, Krita dana, and everything. And this kind of dana definitely lessen the burden. Doesn't make you completely free, but it does remove a major portion of your sin. Upavasa, penance of omitting the Vedic rites. If you are not performing the Yagyas every day, if you are not performing the rituals every day, then you have to do the Upavasa. The current understanding of Upavasa means thinking about it and imagining the food, that restricting your mana, not thinking about food for some times and saying that, okay, my Upavasa will go over by 12 o'clock, so after that I will eat. No, those kind of Upavasa, they are not talking. This is the kind of Upavasa which needs to be done in the terms of Prayashchitta, in the terms of omitting the Vedic rites. Tirtha Yatra, which is generally performed by the sannyasin, which we already know, or the people who actually have the, or in the Vanaprastha-ashrama, in Sannyasashrama, they try to remove the major burden of their sin by visiting tirthas, by, by donating things in the tirthasthala. So all these kind of things are very important to understand. Okay, now another thing needs to be understood, why Prayashchitta is being majorly discussed in our Dharma Sutra. Because, see, they do tell you that social rites, social rituals, domestic rites, samskaras, everything is very important. But it is also important to understand that you are unknowingly, knowingly gaining many sins which needs to be removed while you live in this life or while you stay in this world. So for that, they give you this particular kind of a Prayashchitta concept. Another way of thinking is, even during the part of punishment, like if you are killing a cow, or hurting any animals, or you are killing something which is beyond the punishment level, there goes the Prayashchitta. That okay, you have to do this Prayashchitta by feeding the Brahmanas, by feeding the poor people, by donating medicine to the sick people. Those kind of a Prayashchitta formula has been given in the part of punishment as well. That is why Dharmasutra has given much more importance to Prayashchitta, as similar to the economic system or to the social system or to the social conduct. So I think I have given a particular idea why Dharmasūtra-s particularly discuss about. Now we have to judge ourselves, because I have already shown you what they talk about. It is already present in our current life, day-to-day life. We are practicing it. It has already influenced our day-to-day activities. What we rather need to know, that we need to recognize these Dharmasūtra-s. These Dharmasūtra-s are being right now read by very few people, very few interested scholars who are working on them. And we need to realize that these texts are as par to the Smriti text. Rather, they give you much more ideas about Vedas, Brahmanas, Aranyaka text, and they give you an idea that our lives, our cultural aspect of life, social aspect of life, how we are leading, whether this particular thing needs to be improvised. All these things can be, all these ideas can be gathered or taught from the Dharmasūtra-s. So I would request our scholars, students, to actually have a lot more interest to see and look into this Dharmasūtra-s, what could be done and how can we develop this and generate interest in the people. I thank INDIC Academy to give me a platform to share my ideas. I'm open for discussion and would like to see if there is any questions and
all. Thank you, Sushree ji. There are a couple of points in the Q&A, but perhaps you could respond to them directly. We are a few minutes behind schedule now. We're 7 minutes behind schedule. So I'd like to proceed to the next speaker. But if just have a look at the Q&A box, and if there are questions specific to your presentation, maybe you could just answer there so that we can proceed with it. Yeah. Okay.
So I think someone is asking, give example of Kalpa Sutras and all. I have given categories of Griha Sutras and all already. I'm not going to discuss this. And someone is giving Dhanyavada. That is the last one. The middle one is why Manu is missing from this slide of authorship and date of Dharma Sutra. Because, sir, I think the Manu Dharma Sutra is quite controversial right now, because many scholars deny that there is an existence of the Manu Dharma Sutra. That is why I have not given, or I have not included. I have included specifically the Dharma Sutras which are talk or available or is prescribed by Professor Kane or Kangle and everyone. And Manava Dharma Sutra, which you say, or Manava Bruya Sutras, all these are quite controversial one, whether the author is Manu or someone. In fact, the Manusmriti is also very controversial in terms of authorship, I would like to say here. So that is the kind of a thing.
Okay. And just one sec, Sushree. I'm just seeing. Yeah. In the interest of time, Sushree, I think it's better you answer the question in the Q&A box if there is anything missing. But I think you've addressed most of the questions. For specifically with regard to Manu, Smriti, and I think the topic for Sushree ji was an overview of Dharmasūtra-s. And so therefore she was focusing on Dharmasūtra-s. Here is a chronological table by the recipient of Bharata Ratna, Pandurang Vaman Kaneji. Not necessary that I agree fully with all aspects of this table, but it helps people perhaps get a sense of, where the Dharmasūtras are generally placed, and Manusmriti, which comes a little later, at least from Pandurang Vaman Kaneji's view, which Sushree as well has cited.